Picture this for a moment. Over 1.3 million ambitious young minds, sleepless nights, endless notes, and just 1,000 coveted chairs in the halls of India's bureaucracy. That's less than 1 in 1,000. Statistically, you'd have a better chance of being struck by lightning than by the thrill of seeing your name on the final UPSC results. But what does it really take to secure a spot in India's administrative elite? And at what personal and societal cost is this system built? India's UPSC Civil Services Exam is the ultimate gladiatorial arena for the country's brightest and most determined. Success means not just a stable career, but power to shape the nation's destiny. Failure means starting over, again and again. And nobody embodies this drama better than Amrish Yadav, who, after 7 attempts, triumphantly seized a place in the Indian Forest Service. But does his story reflect a fair system, or just an unforgiving obsession? Today, we'll peel back the layers of India's examination obsession, unpack the grueling statistics, meet the individuals behind the numbers, and confront the uncomfortable truth. Who really gets to serve the nation, and who gets left behind? Let's start with a simple, almost brutal fact. Every year, around 1.3 million candidates register for the Union Public Service Commission Civil Services Exam. Out of these, only about 1,000 will ever hold the key to government office. That's a selection rate lower than even MIT or Harvard. So, how did this mind-boggling competition begin? A journey into the UPSC's origins reveals a system born in the fires of colonial administration. The first competitive exam for civil service was introduced in 1854, designed by the British to select loyal and efficient officers. Over decades, the system transformed, but retained its original intent, screening out all but the exceptional, the perseverant, and, sometimes, the privileged. By the 21st century, the exam had evolved into a 3-stage marathon: the preliminary, mains, and finally, the grueling interview. The syllabus is vast, covering everything from Indian history, economics and science, to ethics, international relations, and current affairs. To clear all 3 stages is a feat of not just intelligence, but resilience and strategy. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The rules are designed to be tough, but not equally tough for everyone. General category candidates get 6 attempts, OBC candidates get 9, and SC/ST candidates have no official attempt limit. Why? To ensure representation across India's diverse communities. The exam is conducted in 24 languages, a nod to inclusivity, but questions linger. How inclusive can a test be when less than 0.1% actually succeed? Let's meet Amrish Yadav. Born in 1992 in Kasganj, Uttar Pradesh, he seemed destined for government service, his family lined with officers, from his grandfather to his siblings. After earning a biotechnology degree from one of India's top engineering institutes, IIT Guwahati, Amrish did something remarkable. He turned down the tempting prospect of corporate stability and 6-figure salaries to serve his country. But the UPSC takes no prisoners. Despite clearing the prelims and mains 3 times, Yadav stumbled at the interview hurdle. As if that wasn't enough, he took on a demanding job as a railway station master, juggling 4 to 5 hours of study each day with night shifts and unpredictable schedules. For 8 years, he faced repeated rejection. At any point, most people would have quit. Amrish didn't. And he was hardly alone. Thousands of aspirants like him invest years, sometimes a decade, at the altar of this exam. It's not just an academic test, it's a test of character. The pressure is relentless. Peer pressure, parental expectations, financial strain, and an endless cycle of hope and humiliation are woven into the very fabric of this process. Dr. Kiran Bedi, India's pioneering IPS officer, once remarked, "Self-belief and a strong understanding of the syllabus are crucial for cracking the UPSC exam." But what about those who, despite relentless self-belief, never make it past the final round? For every Amrish, there are tens of thousands who walk away with nothing more than a stack of failed attempts and a battered sense of self-worth. This system, as awe-inspiring as it is, raises uncomfortable questions about meritocracy. The numbers reveal a simple truth. Candidates from STEM, science, tech, engineering, math, backgrounds statistically have a higher chance of success. Family support and access to mentorship, often a privilege of city dwellers and the upper middle class, are indispensable. Is the exam truly a level playing field? Consider the rise of coaching centers. Major metros have become UPSC prep factories, where a single year of coaching can cost more than most Indian families' annual income. In recent years, however, self-study powered by free or affordable online resources is disrupting this monopoly. Still, the hidden costs, stress, isolation, loss of earning years, can be enormous. The stakes are just as high for those who succeed. Mohan Kanda, former Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh, puts it simply: civil servants must uphold integrity and neutrality to serve the nation effectively. Yet the ever-increasing emphasis on ethics and integrity, especially since 2022, tells us that something in the old order wasn't working. Candidates are now tested not just on facts, but on their moral compass. Has this shift changed the nature of who makes it through? There's also a silent revolution underway. The number of women clearing the UPSC has jumped by 15% in the last 5 years. A growing share of successful aspirants are conquering gender stereotypes, carving new spaces at the upper echelons of government. It's a hopeful detail, proof that the system, for all its flaws, can still evolve with society. Still, the cold reality remains. Millions try, a tiny handful succeed. The toll, psychological, financial, even social, can be devastating. Families invest not just money but years of emotional energy, their own dreams riding on their children's backs. Candidates delay marriage, pause careers, and sometimes lose touch with friends and reality itself in pursuit of a rank. Smita Sabharwal, celebrated IAS officer, notes, effective time management and stress management are key to balancing UPSC preparation with personal life. But can anyone truly balance under such overwhelming odds? Shah Faisal, who topped the Civil Services Exam in 2009, described it bluntly. Perseverance and the ability to learn from failures are vital attributes for UPSC aspirants. It sounds inspiring, but behind the rhetoric lie shattered dreams. And then comes Amrish Yadav's turning point. It took him nearly a decade, 7 attempts, and countless sacrifices. In 2023, he reached the IFS interview round but was not selected. Instead of giving up, he doubled down, this time with guidance from successful mentors and smarter self-study, finally securing an all-India rank of 72 in 2024. As he says, beaming with quiet pride, "Finally, all my hard work has paid. I'm happy with this feat, but I guess my parents, siblings, friends, and colleagues are happier than me, as they have been immensely supportive in my journey." His story is uplifting, but it's also a mirror. How many Amrish Yadavs are out there quietly burning the candle at both ends, gambling their youth, their health, and their futures for a shot at civil service glory? And what does this fierce competition really say about India's understanding of talent, opportunity, and fairness? As India's bureaucracy moves toward the future, promising tech integration, lateral entry schemes, and a renewed focus on ethical governance, the question becomes sharper. Are we selecting the very best, or the best survivors? And with only 0.1% making the cut, what happens to the dreams and the potential of the rest? Could there be a better way to balance merit with mental health, opportunity with equity, ideals with reality? Or is this system, for all its faults, still the fairest crucible to shape future leaders? In the next part, we'll dive into the core of this dilemma, the impact of relentless competition on individuals and society, the debate over reform versus tradition, and the search for a more just path forward. But first, ask yourself, if you had just one chance, would you take it? And what would you be willing to sacrifice for a shot at power, prestige, and a future built in your image? The story of Amrish Yadav, which we explored earlier, is deeply inspiring, and yet it also prompts a hard look at the future of the UPSC system. As millions of aspirants put everything on the line each year for a handful of posts, the pressure on both individuals and society grows. So, where does this unprecedented competition lead us? Let's fast forward a few years. Imagine the year is 2030. By then, experts predict the number of applicants for UPSC Civil Services could touch 2 million or more. New layers of technology, from AI-powered evaluation to remote proctoring, may have transformed sections of the exam. But the underlying anxiety, the pressure to stand out, to be the best, remains, if not intensifies. What happens to the millions who don't make it through? For every happy ending like Amrish's, there are countless stories of dreams that quietly dissolve. A staggering 99.9% of candidates are not selected each year. Some pivot to other careers, others grapple with self-doubt and societal expectations. A few, tragically, are swallowed by the mental health crisis that shadows hyper-competitive systems worldwide. There's also a ripple effect. Families invest not only money but years of emotional energy and support, sometimes even deferring their own dreams for their children's UPSC aspirations. With every failure, not just the candidate, but entire families feel the strain. What does this do to a nation's collective psyche? On the flip side, the system is showing early signs of adaptation. Technology is starting to bridge gaps. Online resources and self-study are rivaling big coaching centers, making high-quality material accessible beyond metro cities. In fact, the rise of digital platforms has enabled more candidates from small towns and rural backgrounds to compete on an equal footing. Still, the digital divide, uneven access to reliable internet or devices, remains a stumbling block for many. Notably, more women are cracking the exam. In just the past 5 years, successful female candidates have increased by 15%. This shift is quietly but significantly altering the face, and hopefully, the mindset of Indian bureaucracy. But there are also fresh risks. The possibility of politicization looms larger as governance grows more data-driven and visible. Decisions made by tomorrow's civil servants will be scrutinized in real time, placing integrity under the microscope. As Mohan Kanda, former Chief Secretary of Andhra Pradesh, remarks, civil servants must uphold integrity and neutrality to serve the nation effectively. New rules around ethics and attempt limits are emerging. Since 2022, UPSC places greater weight on integrity and character beyond just rote knowledge. The hope? That tomorrow's officers will be as honest as they are smart. But there's a danger too. Ethical tests can be gamed, and unless access is inclusive, new rules could simply become fresh hurdles for those already disadvantaged. One of the boldest proposed reforms is lateral entry, allowing specialists from outside the bureaucracy to fill key roles. The Niti Aayog's 2023 report argues this could break the monotony and inject crucial expertise, especially as India faces complex challenges in climate, health, and technology. Yet, critics caution that lateral entry could bypass hard-earned accountability mechanisms, leading to favoritism or politicization. Imagine a scenario where 30% of mid to senior posts are filled by outside experts. Some say this could revolutionize governance, making it more agile. Others warn it might erode the core values of a professional, impartial civil service. The battle lines are drawn, and the outcome isn't clear. Another emerging scenario is the growing reliance on STEM graduates. Today, those from science, technology, engineering, and maths fields are statistically more likely to clear UPSC. If this trend continues, will the system lose out on the diversity of thought, experience, and empathy that comes from backgrounds in the arts, literature, and social sciences? An overlooked but critical consequence is India's so-called lost workforce. For every candidate who preps for UPSC full-time, there's time and talent not spent elsewhere, be it industry, entrepreneurship, or the social sector. Is it fair or sustainable for the country to invest so much human capital just to select a handful? And yet, for all these changes and challenges, the dream of civil service remains incredibly powerful. Why? Because it represents not just a job, but social mobility, security, respect, and the chance to make real impact. As Dr. Kiran Bedi says, self-belief and a strong understanding of the syllabus are crucial for cracking the UPSC exam. But perhaps, more than self-belief, it's hope in oneself and in the system that keeps the wheels turning. So, what can viewers, whether you're an aspirant, a parent, or just a curious citizen, take away from all this? First, understand that the UPSC exam is about more than individual achievement. It's a microcosm of Indian society's biggest debates: fairness, equality, growth versus tradition. Whether you attempt it or not, its influence touches education, employment, and even pop culture. Knowing about the system helps you understand the forces shaping the country's future leaders. Second, for aspirants, the lesson isn't just about hard work. It's about smart, sustainable preparation. Success is no longer the preserve of those with expensive coaching. Online platforms, mentoring, and peer groups have democratized access. If your background doesn't match the typical profile, don't be discouraged. Recent toppers have come from every region, family background, and gender. The system is, albeit slowly, becoming more inclusive. Remember what Smita Sabharwal, a respected IAS officer, said: effective time management and stress management are key to balancing UPSC preparation with personal life. Don't sacrifice your well-being at the altar of ambition. Reach out for support, family, friends, mental health resources. Resilience matters, but so does self-care. Third, if you're a parent or mentor, see your role as more than cheerleader or financier. Emotional support, understanding, and honest conversations about risks, alternate careers, and the limits of the UPSC's promise are vital. A child's worth isn't tied to a rank list. For policymakers and educators, the lesson is sharper. Reforms shouldn't stop at entry. Building a pipeline for future-ready officers means nurturing diversity, encouraging lateral thinking, and providing support systems during and after the exam. The choices made today about exam design, attempt limits, evaluation, and entry pathways will echo for a generation. And finally, for civil service itself, maintaining public trust in its fairness is non-negotiable. As Dr. E. Sridharan put it, dedication, discipline, and a focus on continuous learning are essential for success in any field, including civil services. The new breed of officers must see themselves as custodians, not just beneficiaries, of that trust. So, circling back to our key question, can India's civil service selection system evolve to be more equitable and sustainable, or will it continue to reward only the toughest survivors, regardless of the wider human costs? The honest answer is, the outcome depends on choices made at every level, by individuals, by families, by the state. But there are encouraging signs. The digital revolution, stronger emphasis on ethics, and lateral entry experiments point to a system in transition. However, unless reforms also address inequality of access, provide better mental health support, and create off-ramps or alternate pathways for the many who won't make the cut, the shadow side of UPSC, the stress, the wasted potential, will persist. What's the secret fact in all of this? Despite the crystal-clear numbers on selection ratios, almost every successful officer describes the journey as transformative, regardless of the outcome. They often emerge with sharper skills, broader networks, and a deeper appreciation of themselves and society. In a sense, the process itself is a crucible, forging not only future civil servants but also future leaders in countless other fields. If you're watching this, know that your path needn't be defined by a single exam. The spirit of public service, the drive to contribute, these aren't confined to government jobs. Whether inside or outside the system, you can drive change. If you found this deep dive helpful, share your thoughts or your own exam stories in the comments. Subscribe for more insights into India's biggest debates and under-the-radar stories. And if you know someone dreaming of UPSC, send them this video. They might need it more than you think. Until next time, keep